Welcome back, Guardians. Today's report involves the history and the rumors surrounding one of the most intricate and potentially dangerous individuals to have access to the tower. We speak, of course, of Xur. He, or better described as it, is a being not of the light, but a pseudo-puppet moving through the tower as if inspired by a silent wind, graceful yet curious. Some would describe him as a simple merchant. Others would give him the name arms dealer, extortionist, fool, hoarder. The list of title goes on for some time, but frankly, not all words are important to provide context. And the context surrounding Xur, if it can even be called that, remains to be proven as factual evidence. We have pieces of information grounded in reality, but most of our knowledge surrounding Xur and the Nine remain convoluted in conjecture, rumor, and speculation. This report hopes to offer an interpretation to both the facts and the possibility surrounding our traveling merchant of death. Those who traverse to and from the tower have an excellent definition of Xur. It is concise, deliberate, and helps us open the door to discovery on this most curious individual. Xur sells objects of legendary power. He accepts his own currency in service of his own enigmatic goals or those of equally cryptic masters. Mysterious, too, is the nature of his presence in the tower. Does he have some arrangement with the Vanguard or the Speaker? Are there those among the Guardian elite who understand Xur's nature and ultimate purpose? Or have all efforts to control his coming and goings simply failed? The thought of Xur having special arrangements with the tower's most powerful groups and individuals is of incredible interest, but it fails to illuminate the true question. Does Xur have his individuality? Does he have free will? Does he remain able to choose his own course of action, free from foreign control? The answer to this question is, honestly, difficult to answer, perhaps impossible with the current information, as there is a clandestine group that shrouds our access to the truth. Some would call them the Nine, Jovians, War Minds, elusive beings of immense power that have positioned Xur to be in close proximity with the tower's guardians. But these same beings also blanket reason and fact, hiding it from those who would seek it, and perhaps this is for the best, as anyone operating against the darkness and its minions is often targeted and removed from play. The same rationale could explain the Reef Awoken and Rasputin's reluctance to join us in our plight against our innumerable enemies. The Nine, if you choose to call them that, may simply be seeking safety or solitude from our problems, acting through proxies, such as Xur and potentially others, to satisfy their moral obligations or just simple curiosity for us. There is a different version, an argument that when proposed properly states that Xur, and by association the Nine, are using Guardians, using us to procure oddities and marvels that we cannot properly define. Glimmer, motes of light, strange coins, and of course acts of battle remain pieces of our economy. However, Glimmer remains the only piece we actively understand, as it is the fuel of our city's recovering industry and a form of currency. Glimmer passes through an economic life cycle. New Glimmer comes from reclaimed Golden Age caches and technology, whether a tiny mechanism or an underground lode seeded by ancient machines. This expansion of Glimmer simply drives down the value of Glimmer, but Glimmer is also constantly being used by the city's industry, which it converts into necessary components and materials. This sink helps keep Glimmer scarce and therefore valuable. As we understand it, Glimmer is a form of transmutable matter used by the city's foundries to create components and materials so that our economy may strive and continue to produce armaments and weaponry for our guardians, as well as other peacekeepers. But what remains interesting is that Xur has relatively little use of Glimmer. He does not often trade with it, and you'd get much more in your exchanges by bartering with coins or motes of light. But why is this? We understand Glimmer. We know its value is immense, almost unfathomable. So why is it that Xur would require coins that remain undefinable? We cannot verify their origin, their means, and even their design. Sometimes they can be procured through engrams decoded by the cryptarchy found on our enemies, or rewarded by the Vanguard and Crucible for successful feats of ability. But they remain a mystery. Their true value, if there is any, is lost on us. It is said that each coin rings with a faint, sharp hush, as if it has touched the sounds around it with the edge of silence. These could buy incredible things in the right hands. Whispers say the faceless creature who sometimes comes to the tower covets them above all else. They would not be mistaken. Zur places an incredible importance upon these coins, as if he or the Nine know their true value, forever leaving us to fumble in the dark. This is where a suspicion is raised. Perhaps it is paranoia, implying the incorrect possibility, or perhaps we are being fooled. A cunning merchant would have you walk away from a transaction believing you have triumphed a duel of wits, but in reality, you may have bartered away something more precious or irreplaceable. However, many would believe it is a trade of convenience, as we guardians in the city have no use of these coins. The Nine, Zur's undoubted supplier, has no use of standard conventional weaponry or armaments, so we trade our wares, both exiting the market with something we desired, all for the better. But often in business, this is never the case. Countless reports from old Earth economic workings would cite that your trade partner is always attempting to outposition you, whether by taking advantage of your ignorance or utilizing your uphill struggle against another opponent in their negotiations. Make no mistake, we are ignorant of the true potential of these coins, and we face an uphill battle against an opponent that has backed us into a corner. But a few sentences contradict this line of reasoning. Zur's spoken words guide us off the path of paranoia and to that of hope. He has been reported by Guardians stating, "It is very possible that the Nine intend to help humanity. And do not be alarmed, I have no reason to cause you harm. And finally, I think it is very possible that I am here to help you." If Zur and the Nine are here to aid humanity in its struggle, we should not allow suspicion to turn them away. We stand against a rising tide. The Nine and Zur offer us the ability to face the encroaching darkness on a more level field. One must take advantage of this situation, regardless of the possible negative implications. The final portion of this report is on Zur himself. What, or better, who he was. Various accounts of Zur will always produce inaccuracies, but some Guardians have reported him in conversation, discussing his past and his creation. Most notably, he is from Earth, the seat of humanity, or at least a portion of him is. He was caught stating, "Some of the cells in this body began on this world. How strange to return." He may not be living, or at least not by our standards. Of course, life to a Guardian is a fickle thing to truly define. Perhaps Zur also shares in some portion of undeath, as he has also said, "I think the cells of this body are dying." What remains most intriguing of his speech are two portions of conversation caught during trades, recorded by observing ghosts. He said, "We came up from the dust and burrowed into the flesh for warmth and became something new. And the Awoken did not have a choice. We did." Is this the power of the Nine, to recreate organic material, impress upon it an illusion of free will, and have it act out in trade or observation as a puppet? Perhaps. The more questions we ask, the more we realize how little we know. Our inquiries are a dim, flickering flame in a sea of darkness. The slightest breeze would snuff us out. But this report remains unfinished. A great unknown remains unexplained, as our light has yet to touch the full truth. More on the Nine in my next report.